And joining me now is Rohit Sharma, my colleague from Washington, D.C. Rohit, a lot is happening when it comes to Nicolas Maduro, Washington, D.C., as also the latest that you've just put out. Let's begin with that. A post by the State Department clearly spelling out the Monroe Doctrine by the Trump administration, saying the Western Hemisphere, which is what Marco Rubio said in interviews, is ours and there can be no one else. There's no room for anybody else to step into that sphere. That's a message coming in directly from Washington, D.C.
Well, first things first, Geeta, a very happy new year and a great interview with President Putin. We haven't had a chance to talk, but wanted to put it on the record here. So yes, a lot is happening in Washington, D.C. Look, I think, what we've seen over the past 48 hours is what has been now described by even Secretary Rubio as Monroe Doctrine, where Western Hemisphere belongs to the U.S. We've also seen reports coming in and statements coming in from the Mexican president, who herself said that, this hemisphere does not belong to anybody, and we're not going to tolerate this. So I think President Trump is trying to make a point. He had outlined this in his national security document, which came out last year when he talked about Western Hemisphere, and I think he's taken action on that. Now, it's important to also understand, I mean, we were obviously playing those visuals from UN Security Council, that there have been opposition registered, at least in the UN, by the Chinese and the Russians, but also, we also saw a Venezuelan UN diplomat there talking about it and kind of alluding to the fact which the US has also said that this wasn't an invasion. If this was, there would probably be nobody in the UN representing Venezuela. So I think it's an uncharted territory. We do not know what's going to happen. A lot will be decided this week. We've been told there could be US delegation meetings with Venezuelans. So we'll have to wait and watch if they fly out to DC or if somebody flies to Venezuela. But as of this time, as of this moment, as President Trump himself has said, the policy of Venezuela would be decided by Washington, D.C.
Right. Right. Also, Rohit, the other very important thing, we can see visuals of Maduro being taken to court. We'll talk about that. Before that, another very important meeting that's underway is at the UN headquarters, the United Nations Security Council meeting. US envoy to the UN has very clearly spelled out that this is not them trying to conquer a country or take over a country or occupy a country. It was in the sphere of legality. But that's not what the others in the room think. And there's certainly a demand now for the release of Maduro. Where is that headed?
Well, look, I think it is, as I said, we do not know, right? I mean, so if you hear to the American side of the things, they obviously have said, and like Rubio said, that we acted on behalf of FBI and DOJ to get this person who they believe is responsible for sending drugs to America and has weapons and whatnot. So again, that's the defense the U.S. has been using, and they're like, we're still working with the VP who was part of the Maduro regime, and they have not invaded the country. There are no boots on the ground. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is we haven't seen something like this where, a country would go and remove somebody from power, literally, extract them from their home. So I think we do not know how this is going to be, but we do know for a fact, like Gita, I think this is a very evolving situation. I think the US has said it in many interviews now that they are willing to work with whoever's left in Venezuela, and if they don't follow or toe the Washington, D.C. line, then there will be consequences.
Right, and for briefly, Rohit, the court hearings are underway, right, if I'm not wrong?
Yes, it will be presided by Judge Alvin Hellerstein. He's a 92-year-old Clinton appointee, so liberal in that sense. And Maduro will be represented by two judges, Judge Alvin, my bad, the lawyer, two lawyers. Him and his wife have different lawyers, and they would be represented at noon, which again is under proceedings right now.
Okay, so keep tracking developments on that front. We'll keep coming back to you for the latest developments coming in from the New York court in Manhattan. Thank you so much, Rohit, for joining me.
Thank you.